And we begin our second class, our second talk regarding Rav Pam's character lessons. This class is Le'nei Nishmas Rachel Leah Bas Rav Chaim Tzvi. We began by talking about how Rav Pam felt no issue was too trite to discuss. He would tell students, make sure if you come home late, you call your wife and inform them. Tell your mother if you're going to be late for supper. Doesn't everyone know that? Apparently not. And Rav Pam felt it was necessary to remind people these things which seem so basic and so obvious are things which you have to make sure they become your nature. You don't make people wait for you. The lesson always is that you should be thinking about other people and not focusing upon yourself. We continue. Rav Pam was able to personify the quality of mitinut misinus. Rav Pam was a person who looked very pious, righteous, devout, but he was also so balanced. You could never imagine him doing anything that was harried, rushed, panicked. He was deliberate. That was the way he spoke, the way he thought. Everything was deliberate. And there's an interesting Hoshana. It's interesting, if the siddur that was very popular when I grew up, I'm only 27, but there was a siddur that was once very popular called the Birnbaum Siddur. And for good reason it was popular. That's all there really was in English. And Philip Birnbaum, who wrote this siddur, writes that regarding the Hoshanis, these are the special prayers we say during Sukkot when we hold the Aravos. He said that Hoshanis, he does not translate because it's so easy to misinterpret the meaning of the Hoshanis. So far be it for me to violate his advice, but there is one interesting Hoshana which goes like this. I'm not going to, but it seems to be totally devoted to the agrarian malaises, the agricultural fiascos that could occur. And it's beyond my ability to translate, but I have a siddur here in Hebrew, and it talks about one different thing: the olives, the grapes, the produce, the wheat, and their particular illness. Let me try and try. Garin migazem, the grain from their disease. Dagan midaleket, from the wheat from its kind of rot. Ochel mimahuma, this plague of food. Zayit mineshel, olives from their particular disease. Chita mechagav, and wheat from worms. And it has every single thing. Megid, I don't know what that is. Some other kind of agrarian thing. Mitzlatzal, some kind of bug will infestate it. And this whole long list you find all of a sudden listing one crop after another crop and its particular disease. Then it says nefesh mi bahala, soul from panic. And Rav Chaim Shmulevitz, I heard this quoted by Rav Avigdor Nebenzahl. He said, what is the story in the middle? And it's a great question. In the middle of all these agrarian disease, and it goes right back to it, you have soul from bahala, from panic. Because that's what it is. Just like grain has its particular disease, and grapes have their particular disease, and olives have their particular disease, and citrus fruits have their particular disease. Likewise, the disease of the soul is panic. Because when you panic, you make decisions with haste, which is always waste, and people always suffer, and yourself suffer, and there's greater expense, and there's sloppiness, and there's clumsiness. Therefore, that's the malaise of the soul, and what it requires is being totally in control. And that was Rav Pam. That was the image he portrayed, that's how we view him, and that's what he was, always deliberate and extremely well thought out. We could never imagine anything resembling panic or confusion. Every step he took was with purpose. He once told, someone came to visit him one evening. It was really rather quite late for certainly a senior man like Rav Pam, and it was about 10 o'clock at night, perhaps even later. He was putting on his coat, and this boy was very astonished. He said, where's the Shiva going now? He said, someone called me up and he said his son is getting engaged, and they want me to come to the L'chaim to the engagement. Now I tried, I really did not want to come, but they insisted I come. So Rav Pam said, I told them, it was in the winter, if you send me a car service right now, then I'll come and say a quick mazel tov. So Rav Pam went outside. It's in the winter, it's cold. He's standing outside with his coat for over 20 minutes, and no car came. Now, I don't know about you out there in Na'ala land, but I know I myself, I would have been very frustrated. I agreed to come. I tell you, send a car. I'm standing outside in the cold. No car comes. So Rav Pam turned to this boy who was with him, and he said, no, I guess I forgot. He went upstairs, took off his coat. There was nothing to be accomplished by being frustrated, by being irritated. Hey, I did what I had to do. They asked me to come. I agreed to come. They didn't send a car. And he resumes life. Without frustration, without irritation. That's a man who's deliberate. That's a person who's really in control. Nothing's to be gained by getting upset. One of his grandsons recalled when they came to tell Rav Pam. Rav Pam was learning in his house, in his room where he would learn. They came to tell him that the tests came back, and they were bringing him the very sad news that his situation was a fatal situation. And Rav Pam looked up, and a person walked in and relayed him this very sad report. Rav Pam looked up and listened, as one would as if you're listening to a weather report. And when he finished, he went right away, resumed learning, and he noticed his behavior and conduct that day was just like regular, like nothing had happened. And how that compared and how that contrasted. If someone told him that someone is not well, how he would be so concerned about others, or if that a baby has to undergo a procedure, or a couple is having difficulty, or if someone is not able to find their shidduch, he'd get so worked up for somebody else, but for himself, in control and calm, tranquil and pacific. A couple came to Rav Pam to ask